Alright, welcome to the tutorial of week 1 in which we talk about the value chain. In the lecture I talked you through what a value chain is, what the relation between cost, price and value are, and now, well, we are going to solve these tasks together. So first of all, or in general, we should view Fontys through the lens of a system. So first of all, the question is, who is the customer of Fontys? And the main customer are the students who are joining the lessons and who are writing the exams and getting the diploma at the end. But also customers are the people employed, so the teachers and the staff. And since it's also a partly governmentally supported university, government is also one of the customers. Well, then what value does your organization deliver to the customers? And that's mainly education to the students and training to the teachers. Does the price offer consumers an attractive exchange value? This is what I can't judge, because that's a subjective opinion that you probably have about the service that Fontys is providing to you. But what we can do is have a look at what the price actually is. Price is the amount of money you pay as a tuition fee. But this is not the whole picture, because actually universities are governmentally supported in the Netherlands. So the amount that you pay, around €2,000 a year, is, let's say, 1/4 or 1/3 of the whole cost of the whole price paid for a student, because the rest is paid by the Dutch government. Finally, we can look at their resource costs. So can the resource cost be justified? Well, basically, then we would have to make calculations on how much a teacher is earning in relation to the amount of lessons the teachers are giving, and the support staff is supporting the teachers in giving the lessons. So that's also, well, we would have to do calculations, but also a bit more a subjective idea that you might have is the cost for the resource being the teachers that are giving the lessons and the facilities that you have. Is it justified for the price that you pay? And this is actually a kind of preparation for a larger task that we have. And the other task that we have is create a value chain based on Porter's value chain for Fontys, which is what we do now. So next to me you can see one example of a value chain that we could create for Fontys. Of course you can have different ideas, but this is just a first idea of how to do that. Well, you will see when you do that exercise that it's a bit tricky, because the value chain is actually there for manufacturing firms. Well, Fontys is not a manufacturing firm, but we provide a service to the students. That's why it's a bit tricky to do that. But that's also the task, to think around the corner, think outside of the box, to actually finish or fulfill that task. So let's have a look at the primary activities. Inbound logistics, who are the resources? Students, for example, but also teachers. Since we're also a governmental organization, or let's say supported by government, governmental funds are also part of the resources that come in. The knowledge that we provide, and also a kind of warehousing. Well, we put it in quotation marks because we're actually not warehousing the students, but through student housing in the campus, we give them a kind of place to be. That also could be compared to warehousing. Well, the operations, what happens to get to the final product is student learning, so the lessons we provide, and of course other activities that are leading to the student learning, and teacher training, so making the teachers skilled enough to do the work they have to do. And finally, there are also research projects that are carried out to, for example, with the governmental funds that come in. Outbound logistics, so what is the product that is delivered? The students with a bachelor or master, that's the final product. Then we have trained teachers, and also the results of researches that are being done. Well, if you look at marketing and sales, you probably also have encountered this while you were searching for a university. So there was like a student for a day program, or open days that you went to, or advertisement that you saw from Fontys, or mouse-to-mouse marketing that basically has informed you about the products or the service that we offer. Well, pricing is also part of marketing and sales, but pricing is regulated by the government, so we can't really change that. And finally, we have a service, and that's a bit tricky, because the product we offer, or the offering we have, is a service. So with this service actually is meant the additional services we provide. And Well, since when you have your bachelor's, you probably don't have that much connection to your university. One of the services, additional services, is a kind of alumni network, which actually are alumni groups where we stay in contact with the students that graduate here. Well, if you look at the support activities, the first thing is the firm infrastructure. So we have a director, Mr. Bram Tenkate is our director. Then we have a management board consisting of the different team leaders, a finance department, and so on. That is basically the infrastructure of the company. Human resource department is actually there for recruiting lecturers and also the support staff and training them and so on. And the question to you is, how are you in contact with the HR department of Fontys? Actually, there's no connection. Therefore, we could see or say that the Student Service Center is a kind of HR or human resource department for the students, where you can go for questions and they help you further. If you go to technology development, it's a bit tricky too, because we're not really developing any piece of software or any technology. But what we could see as technology development in terms of teaching is a new curriculum that we launched for international business, or usage of e-learning and new hardware that is used in the building. And then finally, procurement is a bit tricky, because this is about getting the raw materials or materials for production machines and stuff like that. But it's a bit tricky because, so of course, buying classroom furniture is quite straightforward, it's quite easy, but getting the students in as a kind of raw material is, you can't purchase students. That's why actually marketing and sales are responsible for buying or attracting the students. And the same goes for buying the teachers, is basically done by the HR department or hiring them. And that's the first attempt to create a value chain for Fontys. And in the end, then we have the value delivered to the customers.